how can we manipulate the local area into thinking this is the place and the hub and the home for fitness in Ashbourne in Northumberland now, which was the day pass, the landing pages, the active campaigns, the marketing systems, and trying to almost drum up, making enough noise so that the local people find out about us before we even open the doors. And to be honest, from a financial point of view, that was a massive benefit. My name is Adam Collard. I'm the founder and owner of Sculpt Fitness and Sculpt Gym Ashbourne, where we're sitting now. I was a kid who was out of shape, believe it or not, did no sport in school, was overweight, did art, did maths, did physics, went to go and do architecture at Leeds University, believe it or not. But in that 2-3 year gap was also when I made a massive transformation myself. So that was when I went to the gym with one of my best friends, both out of shape, both didn't like the way we looked, and I kind of just loved it from day one. I think everything's a learning curve, and I think when people open the gym, they automatically think, open a gym and they will come, and that's not the case. You know, it's a massive reality check if you do that, you know, whether it be sales, whether it be marketing, whether it be the whole experience and the coaching. Like, you've got to learn a little bit of everything. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but you can learn from the experts in everything. We were with Ashbourne from the start of this site. You know, we did a pre-sale, we set everything up. Obviously, I initially connected because I was adamant on getting fingerprint scanners, which are amazing because it allows, you know, a little bit of freedom with staffing issues, probably an insurance blanket for me as the gym owner, knowing that if I've only got one coach on one day because someone's sick, I can have them kind of holding the fort, and it buys my coach who's in the cage coaching or on the gym floor 5 minutes to get there and know that they're kind of kept there at the front desk before obviously entering the gym as a newbie, as a potential new customer, or as an actual member. So obviously that was a massive selling point from the off, kind of coming in and Ashbourne guiding us through how to do that, because our first gym, small group personal training, had no experience with having a lobby, almost having a lounge where people have to kind of come in, and it's a different customer journey, and that was a learning curve. So obviously connecting with the team at Ashbourne straight away was, right, how do we make this work? From a customer journey, someone walks from the car park into the door, how does that work? Whereas I've never had to think about that. It was a good improvement in my sort of knowledge of gym ownership. The second thing is actually, in a positive way, how can we manipulate the local area into thinking this is the place and the hub and the home for fitness in Ashbourne in Northumberland now, which was the day pass, the landing pages, the active campaigns, the marketing systems, making enough noise so that the local people find out about us before we even open the doors. And to be honest, from a financial point of view, that was a massive benefit. People have no idea what the break-even point is, and the stress of when you initially open with paying off equipment. You know, we're still paying off equipment now. It's a beast. It looks unbelievable. That's why. Now, I'm okay with that, but what Ashbourne allowed us to do is, right, how can we give you as much safety as possible opening this gym from a pre-sale? And it's like, right, can we lock in 100 members at price X, and then can we gift the next 100 to 200 members slightly more financially, but still enough of a benefit where they want to come on day one through the doors? It made, I mean, my anxiety as a gym owner, as a business owner, it massively dropped from the get-go with that, which is nice. And I would say that that's something that if I ever do that again, like, a pre-sale will be always something that I will do. You know, I didn't have the comfort blanket of when I opened the first gym of going, my PT clients alone, if I have no other staff and no other memberships, I'll be fine because these will cover it. This is a beast. It's 5 times the size, you know. We'll roll the dice with this, and obviously it's paid off. But yeah, I mean, Ashbourne helps bridge the gap between that stressful start period. And I've got to, you know, sing the praises of Ashbourne with this, the ongoing process of doing that, you know, having the dips throughout the year, having, you know, the ability to almost have a team that's not really your team. They're kind of, you know, down in Birmingham, but you can kind of ask advice to go, right, what are other gyms doing? What can we do? What can we try? Can you help us see this? Can we learn the system and find out what's actually happening? You know, who comes to what classes, who attends at what time, what demographic are we missing? So therefore, what demographic should we target? Or who is our target market, for example, and maybe doubling down on that. And I think that's all something that the system helps you understand a little bit more. We have put the prices up of all discounted members. So, you know, obviously we're past 2 years. Now it's time for the people that got the original cheapest price to kind of come up a little bit and coincide with the other members. So there's still 3 tiers we go up. Obviously that happens, inevitably there's more cancellations. As a business owner and staff, you stress about that. How can we do stuff to try and get that magic number back up a little bit? How can we potentially not stress so much about the 100 customers that are there already, but the next 100 customers? And how can we potentially level up that way? Are we a little bit higher in price point than other gyms? Yes, but is it worth it in my eyes? Yes, I'd rather have 700 quality members than 1,000 poor members that I didn't want to be around, that I didn't want to train at. I want to see people that value our service and what we provide. In terms of navigating with Ashbourne through that time period, it was right, what offers can we do? How can we retain more members? I think the best tools for us are being able to filter through customers, being able to filter through each part of the customers and when they signed up. And from that, try and promote referrals through it, try and promote other offers, try and promote discounts when people have perhaps fell off. Like one of the ones that Matty's brilliant at, one of our coaches there, is like, if someone kind of leaves and it's under circumstances where it might have been a Christmas period or it might have been like a post-injury or something like that, can we just knock the joining fee off for them specifically and honor it because they've had a lifetime value of a year, something like that. So I think we're always trying to look at how we can use the system effectively, but I would say that's probably one of the biggest tools. Setting up, pretty much, I would say it was seamless at the start, and I think that was super easy for what we needed. And then what happens is, I think you get the first 6 months or a year even under your belt, and then you go, actually, I could probably use this system more. I think there's almost waves of your journey with Ashbourne where you go, right, get us up and running, let's do the basics, let's do as much as possible. Like, we're still using the same like email capture page for 1 day free pass, 3 day free pass that we used on day one. But then there's other things where I think you go, right, we're a year down the line now, let's actually double down on this and see what we can really start manipulating to, you know, get where we want to be. I think one of the biggest benefits of Ashbourne is the team, is the support that you get from the team. Obviously, I'm biased. Evie has been on hand pretty much within 24 hours since I've kind of started with Ashbourne. Like I say, whether it be how can we improve email marketing, right, we'll schedule you a call with this person. How can we do that with how to use the memberships and see the data more accurately? You know, it's different for a small group personal training gym because we track a lot of the data ourselves and the volume of it is not as high, but I think we would struggle to do that manually with this volume of gym. So it's kind of nice to take the stress out of it and come onto the system and know that that's there. And obviously, like I said, the guys have been flawless with the support. I think the biggest benefit of them fingerprint scanners are a little bit of clarity because it's really easy. It allows the coaches to also, what you don't think about is have the awkward conversation of have you paid, have you not? If they're not getting in, it's pretty easy, and it breaks the client's barrier down already because they see it, they know something's went wrong, they go to the desk, it's a process. It makes the coach so much less stressed. They don't have to have an awkward conversation. It kind of tidies everything up, and more so when they're coaching or when they're even tidying up the gym floor, because I'm a tidy gym owner, I do like it pretty pristine. It allows them to be able to do that and not stress about the front desk. Yeah, I mean, we've tried to get involved as much as we possibly can with anything that Evie recommends in terms of systems. The prospect management system was new to me. It's still quite new to me in terms of a knowledge standpoint. Luckily, I've got the coaches doing a little bit of it as well. But I think that the biggest catchment that we got was the feedback from the guys. Know when when people come in, the iPad's there, they give us their emails, it triggers them to that sort of system, and then from that point going forward, hopefully something should hit home, whether it be the email, whether it be the texts. The guys are always putting pop-ups on the app as well, so between the 3 of those, we'll hope that one of them will work sometime. So I think with the initial setup, obviously the guys really work with the prospect management system for me to understand it. And I think from a gym owner, you start a gym because you're passionate about fitness. You start a gym probably because you've been a personal trainer at one point. Your forte is not that, okay? So I think what the guys did really well is they set all this up, not copied it from another gym, but they showed me how it worked inside of another gym, which was Ashbourne's gym, and kind of giving it as an example to go, right, this is what works here. Now this is how we can kind of replicate the same customer journey, but with your gym. So now if you give us the content, we'll try and make this work for you. Okay, so whether it be for member retention or member initial sign up and onboarding process, I mean, some of the stuff I've not had to touch since day one, which is awesome. But I would say that the way that was explained to me, I've had experience with different sort of softwares before, was the most user-friendly way, because I went, right, as a gym owner, I can relate to knowing how it works for that gym. I don't know all the stuff going on in the backgrounds, but I don't need to. I kind of just want to know the basics and what I need to do to make us as effective as possible. I would definitely recommend Ashbourne. I think if you want to put your mind at rest before opening your site, especially if it's a commercial gym, especially if it's, you know, a high volume gym, I think that those guys are awesome. I think they'll teach you some things along the way. They'll support you even more along the way. And I think that that's it. You probably want to have them in your corner before you open the gym. And I think I'm reading through the lines here. I imagine that's a lot of the mistakes that gym owners make that don't get used prior to the launch rather than post.